Welcome to the Lex Show, Fashion That Gives a Damn. This week I am joined by an amazing activist and sustainable fashion advocate. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Emilee Shield. You wear so many hats. You're a cosplayer, activist, and sustainable fashion advocate. How did you first get into all of this and what kind of drew you into this world?
I really don't think I have ever not been in it, to be honest. I grew up in a very artistic family. Like, we've always had like craft rooms, art rooms, like just free, they go and create areas. And I've always gravitated towards art. My brother is a really amazing artist, and a lot of people in my family are also. I've never not been artistically inclined, and I started doing knitting and crochet. I started sewing when I was like 5 because my mom is a seamstress and so is my grandma. And I started like knitting and crocheting when I was like 9, and really just started like pattern designing and like making stuff. And I just was always really gravitated towards it. And really, so when I went to college, I majored in journalism, but I minored in clothing and textile design because originally it was my major, but I was like, I should do something that probably makes money more securely. So that moved to I think I'm like 5 credits away from double majoring, which I should have just done. But so I studied that in college. And then when I got out of college, I guess, kept making things. And then I didn't find out really about cosplay until, sorry, this is like such a ping pong
No,
story because
I love it.
there's nothing linear about it at all. I moved to France actually when I was 20, like in 2014. I lived in France and I learned about conventions because I just didn't have any friends, and I saw a poster. Honestly, it's that simple. Marketing works. I saw a poster that there was a convention near my house, and I went to it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, it wasn't even a big convention, that's the thing, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. These people are like dressed up as characters, and people, because I was living in Paris, like people had traveled in from like different countries in Europe and like different, because everything's so close there, that it was cool because it was like we all knew the characters regardless of where we were from or what language we were speaking or anything like that. And I just thought that was like the most beautiful thing. So that's when I found out about cosplay, and I did my first cosplay when I lived in France, and not anything crazy. But then when I moved back to the US, I was like just enamored and in love with the whole experience. And so then that's when I started cosplaying, and I really did one cosplay a year because I was like very cautious about it. And then I really jumped into it in probably 2018, 2019, where I was like, okay, this is like going to be like a thing I do. And that's when I started like my social media and stuff like that, like probably 2019. And yeah, the whole time I've always been making things. That's not ever, it never stopped that I was making like crafts and projects and gifts for friends and knitting and watercolors and like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I guess it's just like always been lifelong, but that's how I got into the cosplay side of things. And then everything else I've just carried along with me through life. And yeah, it's been really quite the adventure, especially like I said, starting that in 2019, and then starting in 2019, and of course then COVID stuff came in 2020. It was really interesting to have. I had one normal year, quote unquote normal year, and then got thrown into, okay, this is all that I have to do at home because I was living by myself in an apartment with 2 cats, and I was like, okay. So I spent a lot of time on cosplay and like building up my social media and stuff like that, almost as like a survival, keeping my sanity type thing during COVID. So it really has been something that I really love. And yeah, I was thinking the other day, I'm really happy that I've never niched down, because that's something that a lot of people are told to do in order to grow their accounts or grow their followings. And I just never felt like doing that and have never done that. And I am really happy because it means that I can bring all of these really random pieces of myself and skills to the forefront whenever I want, honestly, which is great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Something that you've talked about on social is like how to do this cosplay aspect on a budget. So do you have any
Yeah.
tips for people that are getting into this field on how to do?
I do. I am just a huge proponent of like upcycling and thrifting. I know it's not something everyone has the time to do, or maybe even like the stores around them to do, but I think it's just such a huge resource when it comes to keeping down costs. A lot of what I did, I still would do it if I needed to for a certain project, but a lot of what I did when I first started cosplaying was like paper mache and like things like that you can just make at home, and you're using like garbage essentially for that. And things like that people forget about doing after they're out of elementary school, even like moldable, like drying clays and like, things like that. I always encourage people to think about just thinking about what it sounds funny, but what kids are encouraged to do, because normally kids have a very low budget, is a huge way. Because I think we're obsessed right now with like special foams and special clays, like special like name brand things. And it's honestly, if you really are like using your creativity, you can come up with really cool projects that are just on such a lower budget. But yeah, thrift stores are great. I use bed sheets, curtains, tablecloths like all the time. A lot of that has great fiber content and materials. Like I've found like silk curtains before at the thrift store that were like $5 each. And it's if you got that much silk from like a fabric store or something, it would be like $150. Just keeping an eye out at the thrift store and upcycling garbage are my biggest tips.
I love that. I think that is such a great way of going about it. I think even when, I don't know, you think about cosplay and then you think about like costumes and stuff, like there's so many, this was something that during Halloween, like I was talking a lot about how we can make our costumes more sustainable, but then also like in the film and movie industry, I think that so many things get used for costuming and then like we're watching these shows and I'm like, ugh, like you could have just DIY'd that or thrifted it. Or and I see people on
Right.
TikTok like recreating these pieces at a cheaper price with the skills that they have and by thrifting things. And I'm like, let's make this a thing everywhere, like not just on TikTok, but let's have
Right.
these film and TV industries like doing this more. But that's really cool that you do that. Something that you have posted about on your socials, like going to a thrift store too and like thrifting like sweaters and then using the yarn for it. Can you tell me about this process and why that's important?
Yeah, so the first time I ever did this was back in 2022. I think it's funny because the reason that I did it, I think I misunderstood what someone else was doing in the video, and I was like, "Oh, that seems like a great idea." And then I did it, and then I realized that's not what she was doing. I think she was like originally, I think she was like pulling out one of her projects, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I just kept scrolling, so I'll never know who it was. Like I just saw somebody with the spinner, and then I saw that it was like pulling out like I don't know what it was, like an item of clothing. And I was like, ah, that's an interesting thing. And then I just kept scrolling, right? So unfortunately, I will never know who it was that I saw the video of because that was years ago. And who knows? I scroll so much that I would never be able to find it. But I did see somebody on TikTok that had a yarn winder. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it just kept sitting in my brain. I was like, oh, I should try this because yarn is so expensive. And at the time, I used to do these virtual kind of like community classes in a way called sew alongs and yarn alongs. And it was like everyone was working on this collaborative project. So like we were all working on the same project at the same time during a 1 month period of time. And that way we could help each other through certain parts of the project and like weekly check-ins and stuff like that, which was really fun. And so I had an upcoming one of those, and it was socks. We were doing like knit and crochet socks, and sock yarn is like particularly really expensive because it's so thin that for some reason the less yarn you get, the more expensive it gets.
Mm.
And so, well, just as far as like fibers and stuff, and I wanted like a natural, I didn't want to use an acrylic and stuff like that. So I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to spend like $40 on a pair of socks that I'm making,
Mhm.
which I don't know, people do all the time, and that's fine for them. So I went to my local thrift store and I found 100% cotton sweater, and I pulled it apart, just knowing, because I've made sweaters. Like, a lot of people ask me like, how do you know how to do this? And it's really just, I have been knitting and crocheting for decades because I started so young. I don't think there's anything I haven't really made. So I just, unfortunately, I'm not helpful at all when I tell them. I'm like, I just know how to do it because I've done it. Trial and error, just go at it, and experimentation. I'm a big Magic School Bus fan. I always
Oh
have
yeah.
been. And just like this idea of make mistakes. Like, I think as a society, not to get on my soapbox for just a little second, but I think as a society, like, we're so obsessed with doing things the right way, quote unquote. And it's no, like, just go try it and fail and make mistakes and then alter that. And especially with social media and tutorials and all these things, like, we're so obsessed with this is how you do it and this is how I have to do it. And it's like, that's just not how humanity has ever worked in history. Like, the reason we have knitting and crocheting is because two different people took yarn and thought, what can I do with this? Just like things like that, even on a simple level. So I always am encouraging people to just make more mistakes. I make tons of mistakes. Like, I'm constantly failing. I just don't put it on. I just don't like publicize it all. I have a lot of projects that I'll start and I'm like, this is absolutely terrible. And I'm never, yeah, like, or I just don't finish it. I just throw it away or something. But I think just getting back to it, yeah, I don't know, just started ripping that sweater apart. And then I made a video about it really slow, like that process. And it was actually really interesting because it was very poorly received in 2022. I got a lot of bullying and hate comments. It went viral, but I got a lot of bullying and hate comments and terrible messages sent to me and all these different things. And it was actually a really terrible experience. So I think I did one other sweater and then I was like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. Which is also interesting now because a lot of people are like, oh, you must have so much yarn. You've been doing this so long and stuff. And I'm like, no, like, I did it in 2022, two things of yarn. I have already used up that yarn. Obviously, it's been years. And then I just started doing it again like a couple months ago or a few months ago in the summer. So it's not like something I do all the time. It's not something that I have always done. Like, I think a lot of people on the internet, it's funny, they have this idea of me sitting on this like giant stash of yarn or something. They're like, how do you manage all that yarn? And I'm like, all that yarn, I've pulled out like 8 sweaters. And I'm like, that's not even enough. And also, because I really love making blankets, I'm like, that's not even enough for a blanket. You guys are crazy out here, like telling me that I should be like donating the yarn or I should be doing, like, the comments I get are just wild. Some of them are just absolutely wild. But yeah, so I just started doing it again because obviously Joanne Fabrics closed down last spring, and or maybe it was early summer, whatever it was. And I again was just not really feeling like paying prices for things. And I go thrifting a lot and I just always see like rows and rows of sweaters. There's 4 right now. Like, I was just at a Goodwill and there were like 4 aisles of women's sweaters. And there's no way that's going to sell ever. There's no
Yeah.
way. You're going to keep it there and keep filling it up until it gets a little warmer. And then it's all going to go to the Goodwill outlets and then it's going to go to the landfill. And I was just like, this is horrendous. And even when I am picking sweaters, like, I might take home like 2, maybe 3, like, out of that whole 4 aisle. I'm not like going in there and going, oh great, I'll take all of these. That's just not how that works either. And I think sometimes people have that idea that I'm just in there like filling up carts with sweaters. But no, I'm very particular about color, also the make. Some of them don't come apart very easily, so you have to keep an eye out for those. But also just like fiber content, I'm really picky about that. I'm trying to get like natural fibers and colors. Like, I might just not like the color of a sweater and I'm like, I don't want to put the energy or effort into that, taking that apart. So that's the very long tale of how that all came together. But it's been really nice to see the shift in mentality over the last, what is it, like 4 years, that people are actually like really receptive to it now. And mostly, like I said, I get some very wild comments, but like for the most part, people are really happy to have the idea and like the resource to do that. So yeah, I think it's been pretty great this time around.
Good. I think that, in my opinion, like what you were saying, like there's so much stuff out there. And I was just saying this, but we have enough clothes right now to dress the next 6 generations of people. And
Yeah.
I know that a lot of I feel like, anti-thrifting propaganda is that we're taking like clothes from people who are gonna want them. And I'm like, guys, like have you seen the back of the thrift store? Like, it's
It's
ridiculous. Like, it's
insane.
utterly
Yeah.
ridiculous. They get donations every single day. And then there are like times of the year where they'll get donations, like the amount that they usually get in like a week, they get it in a day near the end of the year, like New Year, because people are like cleaning out their closets or getting new gifts ever. And so I'm like, guys, trust me, the issue is never whether or not like we're gonna have enough clothes out there.
Yeah.
So many clothes right now, and with that like information, it's not like we're stopping making clothes. If anything, we're
Right,
like that
right. That's the
great.
thing.
Like,
That's the thing is like everything is still at full. It's not
full
like we
freaking
stopped
speed.
today and what we have today is what we have. It's yeah, it's absolutely. I wish I could take field trips of people to like the Goodwill bins because
Yeah.
it's like that's the last stop before the landfill. That's not a thrift store. That is, they then go on the truck to the landfill. There's no saving those items at that point. There's no, oh, you should have left it. I get that comment. Oh, you should have left that for somebody who was less well off than you or something like that. And I'm like, do you realize like I am digging at that point through mountains of clothing
Yeah,
to
it's
get, and
insane.
again, like I said, maybe 5 sweaters, 6 sweaters that I'm taking. And it's as I'm doing that, they're just rolling them back like they're because they rotate them, right? So
Yeah.
like they're rolling them to the back to go to the landfills as I'm digging through like mountains of clothing. And it's like people just don't realize there's like such a cognitive dissonance of what the actual clothing situation is
Mhm.
right now.
No, it's like literally ridiculous because yeah, it's just if we stopped right now, like guys, we'd all be set. We'd be chilling, our kids would be chilling, our kids would be
Right.
chilling, our kids would
We
be
could
chilling.
stop. We
Like,
could stop for 40 years and we'd still be fine.
yeah, we'd be good. We'd be good, but we're not stopping. And we're going even faster, like with producing the rate in which we produce clothes. And so I think that was something that definitely when I would post about thrifting, or I still post about thrifting, but when I started posting a lot more about thrifting was like a lot of the hate comments I would get. And I was
Right.
like, I'm just like, I really want to like grab these people by the shoulder and shake them and be like, guys, I promise you, the like one thing that I took in this trip to the thrift store is not
Right.
going to be the problem here. If anything, I
Mm-mm.
wish more of us would go to thrift stores. And that's the other thing is like the people will talk about like how thrifting's become bigger. And so because of that, the prices are more expensive. And I'm like, no, the
Right.
prices are more expensive everywhere. You're talking
Everything is
about how
more.
expensive yarn is nowadays. I'm like, like everything's more
Everything.
expensive.
Right.
Everything's more expensive, not just the thrift store.
Yeah. And
So
I do think that's an aspect also of why these have been differently received. Because if you look at prices in 2022 versus now, even it's been what, 4 years, I guess
mm,
4 years. It's crazy. Like I've seen people like look at grocery prices from like 2020, 2022 to now. And I think everyone is feeling that pinch. And so I think that's why people are more receptive to the idea of, oh, this is a way that I can save. Yes, it's eco-friendly, but there is also an advantage like of it being like actually really it's really cheap. Like I
yeah,
can go to the bins, like I said, and get 5 sweaters, 10 sweaters, and I'm paying $1.99 a pound. So like it's I don't know, maybe I'm paying $10 or something for 10 sweaters, or maybe, I don't know, 15. I don't know
Yeah.
how many pounds a
Been a lot
sweater is.
of
But yeah, $10 or $15 for 10 sweaters. And each of those I get 6 balls of yarn out of. So that's 60 balls of yarn for $10,
Yeah.
$15. And it's, oh, okay. That's definitely a lot cheaper, especially if it's like natural materials like cottons or wool or something like that. Like those yarns are like, and a lot of people don't realize this too that don't knit or crochet. Like yarn, like natural fiber yarn is like $25 at least for a skein of it. If you are getting like really like maybe like again like sock yarn or something like that. Not I'm not talking about the like fiber mixes at like Michael's or whatever or something like
Yeah.
that. But like yeah, it's like even those are like $10 each. But yeah, if you're doing like a high quality yarn, yeah, it could be like 25, 50, $70 per skein. Like people don't realize how much money at a yarn shop these things are going for. It's like insane.
I think,
So yeah, I'm excited that people are more receptive to it because
yeah.
a lot of people are like, I actually get some really beautiful comments where people are like, this saved me. Things like that. I've been so depressed and not being able to afford crafts anymore or not having again, Joann's was like in a lot of small towns
Yeah.
where once it's gone, there's nothing else there. So it's like a lot of people, I think in a way it's hope core also that, oh wait, you can do something about it, about the situation.
I think honestly that's like how we need to be rethinking a lot of this waste is like how can we
Right.
actually not have it be waste? That's something that I've been doing a lot with like wine bottles. Like I'll have a bunch of, I don't want to get rid of these like pretty wine bottles, and a lot of them have cute labels on them and stuff like that. And so I've been repurposing like a good amount of them as like candle holders, but I just got the other day like a glass cutter, and I saw
Yeah,
online that you can like really easily cut up wine bottles with a glass cutter and then like some hot water, and it like easily breaks
right.
apart, and you can turn them into
Yeah,
cups, and you can turn them into planters, and they're like containers for your food, and you can just order like a little cap thing to put on top of it. And I was like,
right.
that's so smart. And not that I'm like drinking all that much wine, but like anytime I have friends over or whatever, like we'll have a wine
Right.
bottle, and or like people will come over and gift wine or whatever, and it's I don't want to just throw these out. And so that's something that I was like, that's a really cool way of rethinking something that I didn't even really used to think about, I guess, like the waste that it con contributed, in a way that I can refrain from it end up like going into the landfill, and then also turning it into a craft, because then I can make it into like cup
And I think that's a big aspect of it too, is just like the use and craft side of it. A lot of people that are not like maybe that inclined to create don't understand that like people sometimes like people are like, that's so much work, you're taking apart that sweater, that I would never do that, why would you do that? I'm like, because it's actually really fun. It's
because I'm
actually
having a
like,
good time.
yeah, exactly, this is actual enjoyment, and it like produces something that I can then use for more enjoyment. Like
Yeah.
it's double enjoyment. Like people are like some people, again, it's just like certain people, but they have this idea that I'm like becoming a laborer or a worker, or they're like, this is just this crazy that you would do this and waste all that time. That's a big one. Waste all that time. And I'm like, how long do you I really want to ask them and I don't, but I'm always like, how long do you spend watching YouTube
Oh
each day?
yeah.
Or TV or whatever you're watching. How much screen time do you have per day? You know what I mean? Talking about wasting time, I think again, we just have this really distorted idea of like time management
Yeah.
because people are so used to screens and stuff that they'll binge an entire Netflix series and be like, yeah, that was a good use of my night. And it's, which is fine. I'm not like against that. I do it all the
I
time.
do it all the
But
time, but
yeah, I'm not, I watch a lot of TV. I watch, because I am always working on stuff
but
or
I'm
something in the
doing it while
background.
I'm doing my craft.
Sure. But I'm also fine if you're not doing a craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care. But like the idea that making something is a waste of time versus watching something where you're like a consumer versus a creator.
Yeah.
Watching something is not a waste of time, but it's such a waste of time when I'm actually creating something is
Yeah.
just it's just so wild. That is actually like a really popular opinion on that's a very like if I had like the categories of 5 types of comments I get, because they really are only like 5, like I get the same comments almost every single video. That's one of the big ones, is what a waste of time. And it's just really interesting to me that we have this idea that like me creating something and enjoying it is a waste of time.
Yeah, that's so interesting because it's like I'm literally like no one's paying me to do this. Like I'm doing it because I'm having a good time. Yes, maybe if I sell it or something in the end, but like I'm just doing this to do it. No one's like forcing me to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, the selling one is a big thing too, because people are like, "Do you sell this? Are you selling this yarn?" And I'm like, "No,
Mine.
I'm not. This is mine." And honestly, like, I think people are also like think that art is linear, because they're like, "But how are you doing all of these sweaters right now?" And I'm like, because like I said, I started in the summer, and I'm like, during the summer, I don't really sew or knit or crochet or anything. I just do like random, it's like kind of my like get ready and reset for the year. I'm really bad at summers. I hate heat. I hate sunshine. Like I'm not motivated to do anything. So I just do whatever pops in my head that's random. But then there's times a year, like now actually, where it's like I am like locked in. I'm so happy. This is when I work on big projects. This is when I do, yeah, big projects, big ideas. I don't know, like I'm constantly just inspired by winter and also spring, but I've always said my most productive times of year are January and February. That's normally when I do like really big cosplays, really big like crochet or knit projects and stuff. So I during those times I probably will, and I think even now I have slowed down on like maybe doing sweater videos and stuff like that, because I it's not like I do it and then I make something directly afterward. And a lot of people that don't create, and also I'm neurodivergent, so nothing I do is linear, think that's how it happens. It's like you have an idea for a project, then you go to the store and find the exact sweater, then you go and unwind that sweater, then you go home and then you get started on the project, and then you make the project. And then it's that's so not how art works at all. It's more like I just have stashes of things, and then at 3 a.m. at one
Real.
point I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I have the best idea in the
Yes.
world." And then I'll go and I'll dig through everything. And if I don't have what I need, it's actually really bad, because then I'm like, it's like the most frustrating thing. But most of the time, I think at this point, I do have what I need. And then I just pull the stuff that I need, and then I create, and I go into a crazy, I don't know, like hyperfixation. And I just create an entire thing in the weekend or a week or whatever. But it's actually really important for, again, like my brain and my personality to have that stuff there. Like my brain is not going to be like, "Oh yeah, we should go unwind a sweater for this." It's going to be like, "No, whatever is the closest thing is what you're going to use." So it actually works out really well to have like stashes of things for when I get those sparks of inspiration.
I think the craziest thing would be assuming that you're gonna go to a thrift store and find the perfect sweater that you in that
Mm-hmm.
moment. It's always the times when you
Absolutely.
need
Yeah.
something at the thrift store that you're never gonna find it.
No, you're so right. And that's a big thing too with cosplays. I have this crazy thing that people think I'm insane, because I do most of my cosplays like sustainably and using like thrifted materials. Most of my cosplays take 2 or 3 years to go from I have an idea to like getting all the materials that I'm going to use for the idea, and then making the cosplay to its completion. Also, because sometimes when I'm making it halfway through, I'm like, I hate this now and I don't want to. And then I put it in like a bin and I don't
Like,
look
let
at
me
it for
come
a
back to
year.
that.
Yeah, and then I go back to it when I have an event, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to make a whole cosplay." And then I go back to the bin and I pull something out and I finish it because I only have half of it to do. And then that is how a cosplay is born. That's what I mean though. I'm like, I don't even know if people understand how chaotic I am. Like it's actually the best and worst thing ever. That's also like a huge thing I like to tell people, because I'm like, again, going back to this like standardization of like how things are done or how you should be a creative or artist or whatever. And it's no, just do whatever fits your brain. It's not about It's not about doing it a certain way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just in general like the creative process, honestly. And I think that I don't know, I'll have people that will ask me about that too. And I'm like, I don't know. I just do what works best. I don't even know how to give advice about the creative process sometimes because I'm like, it's like I get inspiration. I'm definitely like someone, I'm not even like oh, like summer and winter or like whatever are my most productive times. I'm like, I like can't function during the day. Like for some
Mm.
reason, the sunlight
Mhm.
really, I know that it's like vitamin D and it's supposed to make you feel
No,
good
I'm
and
the
stuff.
same. Yeah,
When the
no.
sun is out, I feel like a pressure that I'm supposed to be doing something. And because of, I was just having this conversation and I was like, and because of that, it makes me not like want to do anything because I'm feeling pressured and then it makes me tired and makes me want to nap. And
Right,
the sun goes down. I'm like, let me cook. Like, I need to
right,
do everything that I didn't get done during the day, which is really inconvenient because obviously things are like not always open at night. So then I can't do
right.
things I wanted to do. But I'm like, I am my most productive usually during the nighttime. Like, I don't function, I have a 9 to 5, but I don't function well for the 9 to 5 bit because I'm just
Mhm.
like, I'd rather do this all at night. But literally, like, something will come to me at 3 in the morning and I'm like, I'm doing this. And it won't get done during the day. And the second the sun goes down, I was going to say the lights go off. Nope, that's not how the sun works.
The outside, yeah.
Someone flips
Yeah,
the switch. Sun goes down, and I'm like motivated to get a bunch of shit done. And I'm like, that's just honestly how I feel like my conversations with like other creatives, they're always just, yeah, it's an itch that needs to be scratched immediately in that moment.
right,
And other
right.
than that, I'm like drowning to find some sort of creativity. And then it's, oh, nope, I got it. We're here.
And I think that is tied into the winter versus summer for me because summer is longer days of
Oh,
sun
that's so fair.
and winter is longer days of night or longer nights, not days of night. Yes, longer days of night.
Yes.
But if it goes,
But I know what
yeah,
you
if the sun
mean.
goes down at 3 p.m., I'm like, wow, I have an extra 7 hours to get stuff done today. Like, I'm so here for it. Like, I love, yeah, sunshine is really disruptive to my creative process. So
Yeah.
I have to live in the north forever. I lived in California. I lived in Southern California and it almost broke me. Like I lived there for 4 months and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done
See,
because it was sunny all the
and
time.
I live in Southern California currently,
Yeah,
and I'm always like,
more power to you.
I was like, I will never leave California, but I am like, gosh, like I need to find people that are good with me, like emailing them at 11 o'clock p.m. because if it's the nighttime, man, the nighttime I cook during the night.
Yeah, I totally get it.
I'm so glad because I was having this conversation with someone the other day and I was like, this is the first time I've had a conversation where someone understood me with it. And then I was like, now I've had two conversations about this where people are understanding me. Great. I literally looked up the other day if I was allergic to the sun because I was like, why am I so tired during the day? I'm not allergic to the sun. Fun fact. Figured that
That's
out.
good.
Figured that out pretty quickly. As though 22 years of my life I've been standing in the sun and have never had a reaction, so don't know why I thought that. But I was like, why am I so tired during the day? And I was
Yeah,
like, damn
it's
it,
like
maybe.
sensory overload. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Literally exactly.
I'm always like, why are you so much?
Oh, bright. It's so bright.
Stop. If you could turn it down, then
It's like,
maybe I feel like I would be more on board with the sun.
yeah, it's like how I feel about the overhead light. Like I only have
Right.
lamps on, and then
Same.
like my boyfriend who I live with, he like can't fucking see without the overhead lights on and he'll turn them on and I like scream. I'm literally like, ah, no.
Yeah. I
What?
call them the demon lights. I'm
Yeah,
like, do not turn on the
literally.
demon lights.
Literally. Unless it's like a nice, like chill, like yellow light, like I can't.
Yeah.
And that's how the sun feels to me. It's like one big bright overhead light.
No, thank you.
No,
No, thank you.
on top of, I guess, our conversation about sustainability and keeping things out of the landfill, I think that something that is really important is longevity in fashion and kind of keeping things for as long as we possibly can, really extending the life cycle of our garments. And so, how do you think that we can be more intentional or not convince, but encourage any listeners to be more intentional with their purchases so that they keep them for longer.
Something, okay, I'm trying to think of how to say that. I'm really bad at keeping things for a long time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and be like on this like holier than thou art pedestal. I'm terrible. I love trends. I love fashion. I love new things like serotonin. But I'll tell you what I do to combat that.
There you
I am really a huge advocate of buy sell stores. So I know in California you have a Buffalo Exchange. That's a really good example. Or Crossroads is in
You both, yeah.
California. Okay. So Buffalo Exchange and Crossroads are really great ones. I know some people do Plato's Closet. Like there's like little consignment shops everywhere that are all kinds of names. But that's a really big one for me. I actually used to work at Crossroads a long time ago. And it's great because you take your clothes. So like I thrift most of my clothes, right? And then when I get bored of them, I take them in a big, huge bag to Crossroads. They go through them and then like they take what they need to take, whatever, and then I get a credit for it, which I can then use to buy more used clothing. But the great thing about those spaces is that it's not like a thrift store where it's just whatever they get in. A lot of it is curated towards trends, styles, brand names, things like that. So I'm a really big proponent of that because if you are looking for something that's like trendy, maybe a higher quality, higher price tag than like $3.99 or something like that. If you want those like a leather bag or like leather shoes or like something that's like really nice. I have some of my really big like statement pieces from places like that I have bought because it's a good alternative to thrifting in like a conventional thrift store where you just don't know what you're gonna find. And like a lot of the times, like places like Goodwill now are crazy and will mark up. If it's like a wool coat, they'll put it at like $150 or
Yeah.
something. And you're like, what are you doing? This was donated. So that's like a huge one for me is like consignment shops, buy sell shops. I think that is a really important part of the sustainable like economy, and it helps, I think, if you're not like somebody who wants to keep the same sweaters for your entire life, to get high quality items while still
Mhm.
like being able to get rid of things and give it back to these stores, which then it's new for somebody else. Another thing that I've done recently are clothing, oh, what's it called? Clothing swaps. So like the one that I just went to in September, I went to one and it was like everybody brought 10 items of clothing or around 10 items of clothing. There was probably like, I don't know, 40 or 50 people that came. Everybody brought 10 items of clothing and you got a raffle ticket per item of clothing that
Mhm.
you got or that you brought in. And then you went and shopped basically everyone else's stuff was on everything was on tables that were labeled, and then you shopped everybody else's stuff and then like you basically paid with the raffle tickets to then leave with 10 other things. So nobody spent any money. Everybody just brought 10 things that they didn't want. And the nice thing about that too is that weirdly, but I guess it makes sense, there was like stuff left over at the end, which then we donated. But like there, I think it also shows like how much, like it was so easy to find 10 things in our
Yeah.
closets that we didn't even want to wear.
Yeah.
Like it was like the easiest thing. I think a lot of us were like, yeah, like we've had this and I've just never, a lot of it was like really in great condition because it was like stuff that it was like, I bought it, just does not look good on me. I can't return it. So it's just been sitting in my closet or something like that. So that was really fun. And I know people do that on a smaller scale, with, like friends. Okay, here's your friend group. Everybody bring 10 items and it's 5 people. That's still 50 things of 50 clothing items, right?
Yeah.
So like then everybody can get something new. So I would definitely suggest those two things to like keep things out of landfills, get something fresh and higher quality. Because like I said, I'm definitely not going to come on here and lie and be like, I buy sweaters and I wear them for 25 years. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I do have things, obviously, that I'll never get rid of that are like my favorite things ever, but that's just not my personality. It's not.
No, I think that's so fair, and I think that's like honestly good to talk about because I think that a lot of people that are like, I don't know, I think a lot of people that aren't in the sustainability space will look at creators, people in the sustainability space and be like, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And I was like, okay, I'm not like the most sustainable human being in the world. Like I
Right,
am
right,
making and taking steps to be more sustainable and
right,
to keep things out of landfill where I can. And every
right.
little thing that I do, hopefully, can add up to an impact, or every little person I speak to can have a ripple effect. But we're also like not like freaking God and we're never gonna create waste
No,
ever. It's no,
yeah,
we're in the space and there's ways of going about this that are more sustainable. And I love the mention of crossroads because I literally have it on my to-do
I
list.
love
I've
it.
had it on my to-do
I
list for
love,
the last 4 days, and I have not been encouraged
yeah,
to
I love
go into the
Crossroads.
scary sun
Oh yeah.
to go, but I
I
do,
love Buffalo and Crossroads,
yeah,
yeah.
I do
Oh,
want
I
to go
guess
to
I worked at both. No, I did. I worked at Buffalo too.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Hey,
Love
I'm from
it.
Seattle. Like yeah, all of that goodness. It's been great.
Yeah, but there, yeah, I also just suggest stores like that too if you like want to get into thrifting, but you don't know where to start or whatever. Because I'm like, walking into a Goodwill can be daunting because you're
Right,
like, where the fuck do I start? But walking to
right.
Crossroads is a little bit more like digestible, I feel, because it's like more curated, it's a lot more trend focused, it's like cool brands and stuff. So I feel like that's like a
Yeah.
good place to start if you're looking into thrifting more. You also have a cool series where you fix up thrifted dolls. I know that we can see some behind you.
I know.
Can you
That's
tell
why my
us
head
how
came.
this started?
Yeah, again, just like through necessity, and not that dolls are necessary, but I have had American Girl dolls since I was 9 years old. I got the catalog, or my grandma got the catalog, and like we used to flip through them together as like when I was a kid, and I saved up when I was 9 for that's what a difference I've noticed from a lot of people. A lot of people got them gifted by like their parents, their grandparents, or whatever. So a lot of people that are in this space are like, I can remember Christmas morning when I opened my American Girl doll that I asked for Christmas. I was like, am I the only one that was forced at the age of 9 to save up for an entire year to get this doll? Like,
They're like
I,
$100 dolls.
yeah,
That's crazy.
that's why it took me a year. It was like, I don't even know because I didn't really get like allowance or whatever. It was like odd jobs, money, random. I don't know how I even got the money because yeah, I didn't get like an allowance even. So I don't know where the money, maybe some birthday money or something from my grandma. I don't know. But yeah, I saved up for a long time. So when that doll came in the mail, think about like a year and 9-year-old time. That's like basically a decade,
Yeah.
like how long that feels. So when I got that doll in the mail, I was like, it was like, oh, like I just remember being like, this is it.
This
I've
is the
peaked.
best moment
This
of
is the
my life.
best. I can still remember like the smell of the doll. And a lot of people actually will say that. I know it sounds weird, but the older Pleasant Company dolls before it got bought out by
Yeah.
Mattel and stuff, they had a really distinct smell. Like it must be the plastic or manufacturing or something like that. It's like a really, it's almost like
Can
perfume.
smell it.
That's
Think
what
of
I
it.
mean. Is it's like a distinct memory for a
Yeah.
lot of people. So yeah, so I got my doll. I had her over the course of my childhood. I got two more dolls. The first one was Felicity, and then I got Samantha and Molly. Were found at thrift stores. One by Samantha was found by my grandpa, and then Molly was found by my mom at thrift stores, which is also cool to me. I
Yeah,
was like, I've
so
been
cool.
thrifting these since yeah.
So cool.
So I had three that I grew up with. And also, fun fact, just because you started me on dolls, and that was a bad decision because I'm a little bit obsessed. But my dad, I can't talk. My grandpa thrifted that Samantha. I got so excited. I was like, I can't even talk now. For, I don't know, like he paid like $5 for it or something, right? Recently, I learned about like white body dolls, which are like the first earliest versions of the dolls, which are worth like $500 now. Some of them are worth even more. Some of them are worth like $1,000. It just depends on how old the doll is and like certain features and stuff. And only a certain number were made with white bodies before they went to that tan color that most of them are made with now on their bodies. And I checked, and she's a white body American Girl doll, so she's worth like $500.
God.
And he thrifted her for
Oh my God.
$5.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about to people that I'm like, this is where the heat at the thrift store is. Everyone needs to go to the
I
thrift
know.
store.
Yeah, no, you never know. And also, it was at a small, it wasn't at like a Goodwill, like it was at like a small little thrift store once upon a time. And of course, back then, because that was like years and years ago, she wasn't worth $500 for having a white body. She was just an old doll. But now, like appreciation of value and her being like a lot more rare and all these things, she's worth so much money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, Grandpa, for my $500 doll. That's really sweet of you. So of course I'll never get rid of her
Yeah.
because she's iconic. But so I had those three dolls growing up. When I went to really like high school, college, whatever, I they were all in storage. And then in like during the pandemic in 20 probably 2021, 2022, yeah, probably 2021, I started seeing like adults posting about dolls on Instagram and TikTok. And at the time, I was just about to say, I don't even know how this came up in my algorithm. And then I realized like during COVID, I'm not kidding. I spent like 12 hours a day on TikTok. I remember getting like this is how much screen time you spend. And it would be like 12 hours and
Nobody
54
needs
minutes. And
to
I was
tell me.
like,
I don't want to know. I don't want to know how much my screen time is.
it
It's
was
gonna be bad.
bad. It was bad. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure the social media gods had me checked for every single item. So I saw some people posting about that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like people still do things with their dolls when they're adults, because I had unfortunately fallen into that idea that dolls are for kids, and like when you grow up, like you need to get rid of them and like all these things. But I hadn't got rid of mine were at my mom's house still, and I'd ask her like not to get rid of them all through like college and all that stuff. But then she moved, and when she moved, she was like, I'm not taking these with me again. She's like, you have your own apartment now. I'm not packing these with me. Like, here, I'm dropping them off. So she dropped them off. And it was like such a happy moment for me because I was like, oh, yeah, like I loved these dolls. There's so much love there, like in memories and like all this stuff, that I was like so happy to open the box and to see them in there and stuff. And so I like set them up in my craft room, and then they were and then I got really involved in I'm so intense. Then I got very involved in the American Girl communities, and there's like picnics and dress like your doll things and stuff like that. And I started like making some friends who are also adult collectors my age, and yeah, hanging out with them and stuff like that. And then I had this thought, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to get a couple more dolls, because I had always wanted like the original dolls that I had grown up with, and then also there were some other ones that had come out that I had always wanted. And I don't even remember what my first. So anyway, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace and finding some there, and then that kind of rolled into finding some at thrift shops. Again, I just thrift a lot. And so I found some at thrift shops, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should try to fix it. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I should try to fix this doll up. I like knew nothing about it. But because I had made friends with people and also joined in on some like Facebook groups and stuff for adult doll collectors, I just messaged people, and I was like, hey, how do you get this off their face, and how do you do their hair, and how do you do all these things? And yeah, I just started fixing them up, and now I have way too many dolls, honestly. I was just looking at them, and I was like, I probably should get rid of some. I don't know if I will, but at some point. Now it's like such an addiction because the 9-year-old in me is get them all.
No,
Like my
I
inner
am like
child.
pissed at myself because I kept my American, I think I had a bunch when I was younger.
Yeah.
And Julie was my first one. I loved Julie. She felt like, because there's like the custom ones or whatever that you can have that are like mini
Right.
or whatever. Julie felt like a mini me to me. I was like,
Aw.
I loved her. And my grandpa like hand made me for like Christmas or something, like a bunk bed for them. And my
Yep.
grandma
I
like,
did too. I got that from my grandpa too.
yeah, really? Oh my
Yep.
God. I
Yep.
was like, it was the sweetest thing ever. It was like, to be loved is to be seen. Like they made
Right.
like the bed for my dolls, and then my like grandma would make the bedding and pillows and like clothes for them.
Mhm.
And I was very adamant to my parents. I was like, I want to keep them for when I have kids one day, and then I won't
Right.
have to pay another $100 or whatever for them. And then at some point, I think like I lost the whimsy for a little bit there, and I was
Yeah.
like, just sell them like.
I know.
Oh, no.
I know. It's so like everyone goes through that and then they're like,
And
you
then
made
I
a
look back
terrible
and I'm like, why
mistake.
the hell did I
I
do that?
know. I
Why the
know.
hell did I do that? I do feel
My
better knowing that there's so many ways that you can access them now secondhand and to necessarily pay the $100. Like Facebook Marketplace, I definitely know
it's
has,
big. Yeah.
especially where I am in like LA, like I know that people are selling them near me. Um,
Yeah, because you have a doll store too. You still have a
oh
American
yeah,
Doll store. And
yeah,
a
we
lot of places do
do.
not, they've mostly shut down now. So
We have in
props.
Century City, and it has the whole cafe. And I
Yep.
really want to go back because that
You
was
should.
like the best birthday
Right.
party was always the kid who like had it at the cafe. And I was like,
Right.
Mom, like that's so cool. Can we do it one year? And then you got the little chairs that would go on the table and your American Good old
Mm. I
God.
just bought one of those. I actually got it secondhand.
There
I
you
found one and I was
go.
like, yes.
No,
It's like my
literally
doll will now sit here with me at the table.
at the table. Gonna get her a computer so that we can look like we're like working together. But that's what my niece, her mom just got her like one American Girl doll, and then I think I forget what they're called, but they're like still American Girl doll brand, but they're like babies instead. I
Oh,
can't even.
bitty baby. Yeah, bitty
Bitty
baby.
babies, yeah. And so she was like, she found it on the Facebook Marketplace for super cheap, and then she found like a whole, what is it called? I don't know what it's called. Whatever, a whole bunch of clothes, a whole lot. There we go, a whole lot
Right.
on like
Yeah.
eBay of like clothes for them. And I was like, see, like we don't even need to get things full price anymore, guys.
That's the
We can get
thing.
everything secondhand.
Yeah. No, but that's so true though. There's so many different ways. Another big one that I love is like Poshmark. A lot of people don't think about like Poshmark being for more than
Mm,
clothes, but they have dolls. Like I've bought lots of American Girl dolls on there, like lots as in like multiple American Girl dolls in one purchase that people are just trying to get rid of because they are dirty or whatever. I don't know. And
yeah,
then I've bought several of mine on there. So there's a lot of dolls on Poshmark also, and I do feel
there you
like it's
go.
cheaper. And Poshmark is nice because you can actually make offers versus a lot of other places you have to pay whatever they put down.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
at one point, I bought something from someone and she had an American Girl doll and she'd seen that I had hearted it and she was like, I bought something else from her, like a coat or something. She was like, do you want me to just send you the American Girl doll too? I was like,
you're like, how do
okay.
you the
Yeah,
fuck?
she just mailed me
Not even
it
a
for
question.
nothing. Yeah. So she just put it in the box with the coat and mailed it to me.
Oh my God, that's
Right.
insane. I think
I
that's
have some stories. Yeah.
a good tip anyways, because I'm like, I think that so many, I don't know, I think that with sustainability, it's yeah, you're keeping this in rotation, like you're keeping the life of it going, but you're also literally saving money while doing it. Not every, I think
Yeah.
that's a misconception that like a lot of people think that to be sustainable, you have to have a lot of money. And I'm like, no, a lot of these things are just like they're actually cheaper. Like I would make the
Well,
argument.
yeah,
Um,
and also like people being like, "Wait, I would never spend that much time on a doll or something like that," and I'm like, again, going back to that same conversation of I love doing this.
I'm
Like I
doing this for
love
fun.
this is fun. This is entertainment. What are you talking about? And people being like, yeah, but you had to spend so much time on her. And I'm like, time I have $150 per
Fun.
doll.
That's
I
not,
do
we're not
not
complaining here.
have. I have, I don't know. I probably have over 50 dolls at this point. But I'm like, that's a lot of money if I was paying full price per doll, but I'm not. I'm spending one of them I got for $2.99. One of them I had somebody like mailed to me. And I have so much fun fixing them up. Like I have a friend who also she has I think she has 4 or 5 now. I'm rubbing off on her. She started off with one childhood doll and now she's bought more off of Marketplace. So we've had a couple just like autumn parties where we like make like spice cider and I don't know, have pie or cookies or something like that. And then we just like customize, fix our dolls. She is a little bit more extreme in that she like does like customizations, like she'll like paint She's doing like a wishy doll, so she like painted their fingers to be like that, like black up the fingers and stuff, and like cool like tattoos and stuff, which is really cool. But I'm mostly like restoring,
Yeah.
so I'm not really customizing in the same way. But it's just cool. We learned how to pierce the dolls, do like nose
Oh
piercings
yeah.
and stuff the other day, and yeah, it's just girlhood,
Yeah.
you know.
No, literally, it's just girlhood. It's
You either get it or you don't. That's what I have to remind myself when I get like crazy comments and people being really wild. Is I'm like, you either get it or you don't.
yeah.
There's no way to explain it to someone.
That's where everyone, I know that everyone was like posting with the Alphaba one and making her braids micro
Hmm.
braids. And people in the
Yeah,
comments were like, oh, that seems so time consuming. And I was like, I would love to do that. I
I would
would
have loved to do that.
literally love
Yeah.
to sit there and braid a doll's hair for
Mhm.
hours. That sounds like stress relief to me. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready. Don't
Right.
even worry.
I
Uh,
would have loved to do that. I almost bought her, but I actually did get a chance to see her in one of the stores, and I was just like, I don't know, like I just didn't really connect with her.
yeah.
And she was $300, so I was like, if I'm not in love with
Yeah.
this doll, I am not buying
Yeah.
it.
I'm sure in
300.
a few years you'll be able to find her secondhand somewhere.
Yeah.
Just
And
gotta
then
be
I'll do her
patient
hair.
and then
Yeah.
do the hair. Anyways, I have taken up so much of your time, so thank you so much. This has been great. Where can people find you on social media?
I am on pretty much every platform at Our Shield Maiden. Mostly I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and lately Facebook. I guess I have a Facebook page as well, but mostly Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing. Everyone go check her out. And thank you so much for telling us about your craft. This has been so much fun. While you're at it, you can follow me on my socials. My Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are all my name at Lexi Silverstein. That's Lexy, silver like the color, Stin. And remember to live a good life and look fucking good doing it.